Aloha, greetings in the precious name of the Most High Yahuwah, our Daddy. Okay, right, tonight I come because I want to just let you know why I left church. So that those who don't know and is putting their own tune to it, we can set the record straight. Now, I exit church because it had come to a point where I've been in church for over 20 years, and I've been striving to be or to become the best me that I can in order to render or to give the best that the Father wanted me to give. Nevertheless, that never happened. And at those times, I was kind of baffled and hurt, and a lot of different things. But now that I am at the place where I'm at, I am happy. I'm glad that I didn't get to the extent or to the levels that I was aiming or hoping to get to in church. Now, I left church because I it became like to a point where I felt like I was invincible, and it was like, let me see if I can explain it this way. It was like I was invincible in a dream, in a bubble. Or basically I found myself I was like, it's like if it was in a bubble, and but you were like in a dream. So me going to church was like that. I was going to church in this bubble as an invincible person, being there and coming out, coming back home, and it was like that, backward and forward. And it became kind of like, what's going on? I couldn't explain it. Anyway, and this is over a period of time, of months and stuff. And then the next thing that happened was I would be here at home getting ready, and ready to leave the house, but cannot leave the house to go to church. I didn't know why. Or I would get ready and leave on my way and turn back, and come back home, and I didn't understand. Nevertheless, one Sunday I left, and I I went in a different direction. I went to the supermarket because I just couldn't go to church. I'm gonna skip a lot of things that was that I experienced, apart from all of the rejection and the refusal, in church. That was the story of my life. Anyway, and so when I went to the supermarket, I saw a friend of mine, and she said, "Oh, you look nice. You're going to church." I said, "No, I can't go to church. I don't know what's happening." And I began to explain some things to her. And she said, "I think you are the place I was about a year and a half ago." And we had a little chat. And then I left, got what I needed and left the supermarket. But before I exited the store, I met another sister that I knew from another ministry. And she said to me, "Oh, so you coming from church?" I said, "No, I haven't gone yet." So I kind of explained to her. And she said, "It's the same thing with me. I've been out of church for 6 months now." And so I felt a bit justified, because at first I was really questioning whether what's going on, what's happening, am I being rebellious for some reason? And no, I wasn't, but it was just that's the way how it was. Nevertheless, I came home, sat on the floor, and didn't even change my clothes. And I was asking in quiet and asking the Father, what's going on, why I can't go to church, what's happening, and stuff like that. And apart from other things that I've been experiencing in church, But let's just talk about this and me. I don't want to go back to all of that. Nevertheless, I sat there and I don't know, I kind of, you know, come across things on the internet like that was more or less more satisfying to me for me to watch or to listen to. And apart from that as well, there were times I would be in the house, you know, just moving around, doing things from the kitchen to the bedroom, you know, like you go around doing your chores or whatever. And I keep hearing, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, right? And it was like, it was consistent. And it was like, you know, when something is tormenting you, and I was like, Father, why you keep telling me this? What? I know what I mean, but why are you saying that? It was just like I go in the kitchen, I hear it, I come out, and I'm like, what is going on? Nevertheless, um, you know, it went on like that for a while until I began to sit down, you know, to be quiet and to listen and to, you know, like focus on what he's leading me to do or to listen to or to watch or whatever. And what I find is that these things were actually, you know, satisfying things in me. It's like I came across, you know, videos on the internet and stuff with people talking about the Hebrew Israelites and things like that. And it was really interesting to me. And to be honest with you, because for a long time I've been asking the Father, who am I? You know, being okay, that's a bit private. I won't say that, but you know, who am I and stuff like that. And it was like kind of satisfying things inside of me, you know. And so I began to look at scriptures and stuff like that, and I began to learn things. um like I said, he was saying to me, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I was like, okay, what is it that I need to know and stuff, you know. Hosea 4 6. And it was like, okay, well, basically, I came to this point where I understood a lot of things, or discovered rather a lot of things that I didn't really learn in church, that I wasn't really learning in church. And I've been in church for over 20 years, you know. And it's like, I mean, I've learned a lot of other things in church, but these things I've never, you know, learned them. Um, and nevertheless, like I said, I was always asking the Father who I was and questioning, trying to find out, you know, my identity and my place and stuff like that. And I remember that once, you know, different occasion, one time I had an experience whereby, and I'm saying this because now that I know who I am and I understand better, I understand what he was showing me then. And I had a dream, because I dream when the Father wants to share something with me or explain something to me or tell me something or make me aware of something, I most likely get a dream or a vision. And so I had this dream, and I saw this. The dream was, I saw this beautiful tree, a beautiful big tree, you know, with lovely green leaves. And in the dream, I was looking at the tree, how the beauty of it, and how, you know, the tree, it was swaying in the wind and stuff, like how a tree would do. And as I kept looking at it, the leaves, just admiring the beauty and the green of the leaves. And one of the leaves on the branch, on one of the branches, I was looking at, and this is all of a sudden, it's as if this leaf just open up, like you know, like when you go to a theater, and the curtains open up and the people come out, right? It was like that. This leaf just kind of parted and opened up, you know. Or yeah, it kind of opened up, and I saw this person coming out like from the leaf like that, right? And I kept looking at it. It was really like a strange thing to see. But as I kept looking at the person, it came where I can see the person probably, and that person was me. And I was like, And when I woke up, and I was like, what is that? What does that mean? So I started to look up about scriptures for about trees, and I came across the olive tree, and that's the route it took me to into this thing about the olive tree. So I was like, okay. So I understood that kind of, okay, I'm in the olive tree, I'm a part of the olive tree, but I didn't quite get it. I understood it a little bit, but I didn't quite get it. But now I do understand what he was trying to show me then. Another time, I had another dream whereby I went to this church. A woman, she was a pastor, and what she did, she used to have us fasting for 3 days or 2.5 days, dry fast, at the beginning of every month. So the first time we did it, the third day of the fast, I knelt down by my bedside to pray, to break the fast. And just as I knelt down and closed my eyes to pray, I heard this lion roar so loud. It was like, and I got frightened. I said, that's a lion. And so I got up, and I was thinking, how did he get up here? Because where I was living at that time, it was one of those high-rise buildings, and I was living on the 6th floor. So I was like thinking, how did the lion get up here? Because in order for you to get into um, the front door is quite heavy, and you have to really press the bar and pull it open, and then you have to come in the lift. So I was like, I would have heard people screaming, how did this lion get up here? Because I knew I heard the lions roar so loud. And I was thinking, but he could have gone up the stairs, but the stairs have a big door as well, like the same kind of door. And this is me, having this conversation in my head about this lion get upstairs. And I'm walking towards the door scared, and thinking. And then what I heard when I was like halfway getting towards the front door in the bedroom, I heard, out of me and everywhere, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And I was like, oh, so I knew what that meant. So I was like, oh, and I got a bit happy. It's like, oh yeah, that time I used to say JC, he's visited me, and I was happy and stuff like that. But not knowing even then, he was telling me that I'm from the Lion of the tribe of Judah, right? Okay, so I said that because of where I'm at now. I know who I am now. I know that I am in the book. I am. It's not just a history of people that I am just becoming a part of. It's actually me, right? And I find that in scriptures as well. I mean, and so, and even now in Deuteronomy chapter 28, when I read that, I read it, because before, even in church, we would read about the blessings. We never used to, like go through that scripture and really look at it or anything. And then the pastor would probably preach from a few verses or whatever. And even when I read it myself, I didn't want to read about the curses because it's like, no, that's not for me, And I'm sure you can relate to that. Nevertheless, I can see everything about that scripture now and what it means, as well as Leviticus 26, So I am here to encourage, to sound an alarm to my fellow brothers and sisters from the sleep of Christianity, because regardless of how many things you're doing, what title you have, position, whatever, we are asleep in Christianity. Because a lot of things that I've been learning, a lot of things that I've learned, I didn't learn in church. Yeah. And these things are very, very important for us to know, wow. Anyway, and so on that note, I just wanted to say to you guys, my brothers and sisters that are in church, don't overlook these things. Listen and have an open mind, because this Bible that we have has false doctrine in it. This Bible is an entrapping. There's corruption in there, right? It's mixed with the Kabbalah, things from the Kabbalah that that was not in the Torah, which was the original text of the Hebrews that the Most High gave to the Israelites, right? Now, I want to say to you, did you know that the very word church, right, where it derived from? It derived from the Greek word circe, Circe. Yes, must look it up. Circe, which is also derived from the English word circus. Then you know what a circus is, right? So church is derived from Circe. It was an old, anyway, go and look it up. And what this word means, it's what did I have here? It's a Greek goddess, okay? And this Greek goddess, you know who she was? She was the Greek goddess, because you know all these goddess and these gods have different functions. This one that is for church, she was a prostitute. She was basically a harlot, a whore, what we would call a whore. And what she did was she had sex with the men of Hercules, right? And what she did was she turned them into pigs. She turned them into pigs with a cup of wine. She gave them a cup of wine to drink. She had sex with them and she turned them into pigs. What kind of circus? That is a real circus thing. And right there, just the word church is idol. We're going to an idol thing. It was never church in the beginning in the scriptures. It was ecclesia, right, or assembly. And when you look into the history of these things, a lot of the words that has been given to us that is in church, like, I'm not going to go into those, but I want to focus on church, is pagan. It is idolatrous stuff. And if you look at the history of the Israelites and what has happened and the curses that was imposed upon them from Deuteronomy 28, our ancestors, it's because they didn't obey, they didn't follow the Father's command, and they worship idols and join in with the pagan and stuff like that. And the Father told them if they did that, what was going to happen. And all of the slavery and that they went through, it was prophesied in Deuteronomy 28 and Leviticus and in lots of other scriptures as well, that this was going to happen to them. And that's what happened. And in those times, their bondage and their captivity was, they had chains around their neck and all these kind of things and stuff. But even now, we are descendants of them, and we're still in captivity. We're still experiencing slavery, and people are still being hung now. Look how black people are being brutalized and mistreated, and people are being killed. The curses is still being imposed, and it's because we are in even though we think we're in church and we're worshiping Yahushua, you guys are saying, JC, you are still in pagan worship, right? You are still carrying out a lot of things that is in church is pagan. The very fact that you worship on a Sunday is pagan. When you go to church on a Sunday, you're worshiping the sun god, okay? The sun god, which is Nimrod, right? And can you see how this goddess, which Circe, which the word church, and this which is of this goddess, how it relates to the harlot in Revelation 17 and verse 5. It talks about the harlot. It's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? And then you're also celebrating Christmas, and even when at Christmas you're saying, okay, we're gonna put on Christmas program or whatever, and we're gonna focus on Jesus and Jesus' birth, it is still, you are still partaking of it. The 25th of December, whose birthday that really is the birthday of Tammuz, right? Yes, is the birthday of Tammuz, is one of the pagan gods, we are worshiping idols. Even when you put on your program, you think, oh, you're doing the church Christmas program, you're still taking part. Yahushua was not born on the 25th of December. Those are not the things we should be celebrating. And when we do that and we think that we're doing it in the name of JC or in the name of Jesus Christ, right? We're not. We are not. We are actually taking part in pagan festivals and pagan worship. When you look in Jeremiah chapter 10, it tells you about the Christmas tree. A lot of churches put up their big Christmas tree, and it tells us in Jeremiah that we mustn't get trees, and that's what they did. That was part of the idol stuff that they did. We celebrate Easter. If you look into Easter, see where it's coming from. It's pagan worship. In this time, we are doing what our ancestors did in a more modified way, and it has been so packaged that we will not realize what we're doing, even as we think we're doing it in church. And that's why these curses are still happening to our people, right? You in your own home with your family, you may think that you're getting on okay or whatever, but we're still on the curses, because really a lot of the things that we're doing, we are actually taking part in idol worship. We are not pleasing the Most High. There's a scripture that says that if we don't acknowledge the Most High's name and stuff like that, even to the things that we have that we think is a blessing, is gonna curse it. So even when you think you have that you're blessed, you're still cursed, because these are the things we're carrying out. We're still doing pagan. So you guys look at it, please. The Roman Catholics and pagan worship is Christianity and the pagan worship is amalgamated together. The Roman Catholic did that so that they can include paganism into church, and all of these things. All it did is just put on the tag of Yeshua on it, or Jesus on it, but really and truly is to allow them to still carry on their pagan worship, their pagan practices. And you guys, and they let you feel as if it's Christianity, but it's not. You understand? That's not real Christianity. Anyway, look into Easter, look into Christmas, look into Valentine's Day. Even that Valentine's Day, and the root of it is all pagan worship. Do you understand? The things that we should be celebrating is like Rosh Hashanah and the blowing of the trumpets. The things that we're supposed to be celebrating, we're told that we mustn't. And this is the lie, and this is the corruption that is in this book, that we don't even realize that we are fooled by. You know what I'm saying? So you guys, please pay attention and come out of that. Stop celebrating these things, right? And by the way, the church also say that Israelites is done away with, that that a Gentile or the church has replaced Israel, right? But that's not true, because if you look at Romans 11 and 23, I may not be able to read through all the scriptures, but if you look at Romans 11 and verses 23 and 24, it says, where are we? 23 and 24, it says, behold therefore the goodness and the severity of Yah on them which fell, severity, but towards thee goodness, if thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off. Verse 24 says, no, sorry, I read 22. 23 said, and they also, if they abide, I meant to read 23, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For Yah is able to graft them in again. Verse 24 says, for if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, right? My dream, cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and wert grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? So Israel is not the church, hasn't taken, is not the new Israel, right? Yeshua said he has come but for the lost sheep of Israel. Okay, in Matthew 15, let's read that quick. Matthew 15 and verses 24, it says, but he answered and said, this is Yahushua, yes, JC. He said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So the church has not taken over. The church is not the new Israel, right? Yeshua came for the lost sheep of Israel. He came to graft them back in, right? And whoever else that would follow the rules would be grafted in too. But he came for the lost sheep, because when Judah had a breakup, and and people fall away from the truth and stuff like that, and following the father's way and stuff like that, all of this, all of them get scattered and stuff like that, and he's come to bring them back together. Okay, so the church is not the new Israel, right? So stop saying that. And for those of you that are saying that the law and the commandments are insignificant, can you tell me then, if this is so, if the law and the commandments are insignificant, you don't have to do it, it's not, they don't have no value, then tell me why, when we look in the last book of the Bible, which is the book of Revelations, yeah, we keep on seeing, it's talking about keeping the commandments. For example, if you look at Revelations 12 and verses 17, it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments. They kept the commandments of Yah, and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach, right? And if you look at Revelations 14 and verses 12 also, it says, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yah, and the faith of Yahushua. Again, and this is all Revelation, and you're saying that the commandments don't stand, and the book of Revelation is talking about those who keep the commandments, okay? And especially the fourth one. If you look at Revelation 22 and verses 14, it says, blessed are they that do is action, that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city, right? We know that there's a new Jerusalem to come, the new city. If we wasn't supposed to keep the commandments, why is it telling us that those who keep the commandments, blessed are they who keep the commandments, right, and have the right to the tree, the olive tree, right, of life, and they may enter in through what? The gates into the city. You got it? So stop saying and believing that the commandments of the law is done away with. It's not. Why then, if the law is done away with, why are you all preaching on homosexuality? Homosexuality is not even in the commandments, 10 commandments, which you lot refuse to do, a lot of you, right? But you preach on gays. That is the law. Why then, if you're saying that Yahushua's come and done away with the law, are you running down homosexuality then? Why are you preaching against the gays? That's a law. That is an abomination. Why do you believe that one and you pick and choose what you want? Come on, think about it. Yeah, don't be fooled. Don't miss this thing. Did you know that the keeping the commandments it's the Father's sign. It's a something special between us, especially the fourth commandment, which is worshiping on the Sabbath day. Why do you think the Roman Catholic Church made a point of changing the Sabbath day to a Sunday? They say that they have the authority to change it, and the Bible told us about they're going to seek to change times and seasons, right? So pay attention. Now, if we look at Romans, the book of Romans again, chapter 2 and verses 13, it says, for, listen to this, for, and this is Paul, this is Shaul, who you Lord always use to come against, the commandments and the things that we say. And we're trying to show Shaul is saying this. He said, for not the hearers of the law are just before the Most High, Yah, but the doers of the law shall be justified. Who? The doers of the law shall be justified. Okay? Yahushua came to fulfill. He came to do, to complete, but not to do away with. He didn't shut it down. He's come to complete. He's come to fulfill. But all has not been fulfilled yet. So the law is not done away with. Don't forget to read verses 18 of Matthew 5.